It's okay.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so we're back, and where we left off was talking about the woman, this entity with ideology that is straight off, taken from the actual fact that humans are entities with ideology and they ride animals. And that's what makes the union a big deal. And that's what's happening in Revelation 17. That's why we know that when it says the beast was, is because it was the union of the beast and the woman. And when it is not, it's because whatever the woman is not there, and then it will come again. Of course, we know in lines of history, things are happening, things are changing, there's different kingdoms. So there has to be some way to apply what the woman is, depending on where we are in history. And our duty is to do it today because we begun to have uh, a bunch of different ideas that tells us we were during the time of the Sunday law. So whatever the woman was coming back. Before we just say what the teachers are saying about what the woman is today in application, I would like to know a little bit of what you think or what you thought the entity with ideology is who wants to control the beast, being this political tool called the Oval Office in our time. What would be that woman? Let's try to have some brainstorm.
Well, I'll jump in and I apologize. I think I called you Pablo and I know you're Pedro, so forgive me for that.
Don't worry,
Uh,
because I'm Pablo as well, as
oh,
funny as it
okay, good.
sounds.
No wonder you didn't correct me. Thank you. I just thought you were being so kind. Um, so the one thing that's jumping out at me is there's still a head on that beast and a woman. And that might just be too much right there, but I'm just going to throw that out there that that's something I'm going to need to think about more because the
Which
head is
part?
still intact on the beast, so it has
Hmm.
a head and a woman. And what I was struck by is I'm trying to do it quickly. The Judeo-Christian religion that the United States carried. And you can see it in the evangelical movement, and you can see it with Israel and our connection with the United States' bilateral relationship, right? With Israel and the belief system, because they do the literal um, interpretation, and it's still goofed up, but they believe they have to create Armageddon, right? Over in the Middle East, what's transpiring now, in order to bring about the second coming of Christ. So part of me, I know that the movement has said that Trump is the woman, but I know also that Trump made a deal with the evangelicals. Um, he monetarily he got into a union with them,
Hmm.
and so for me, they have to have they have, and I'm seeing it now even demonstrated because they're calling this a crusade, they're calling it a holy war, right? So I'm seeing. I do understand that Trump could be the woman, but he's also the head, and so I'm struggling with it, and I'm just voicing it out loud. That ideology seems to be this um, wrong interpretation, and that is a woman, that mega movement, right? It is a cult, and they do have all their people in around him. So
Hmm.
I'm thinking that they have quite a bit of sway, and they want to make the religious laws, right? They want to use the office to put in a theocratic. Uh,
So, Susan, you're
yes.
you're talking about that very evangelical aspect of it. What about the alliance that he made with the I don't know, big tech and all the billionaires.
Yeah, that too. You can't
Or
leave that
and
out. And
that,
they also, Peter Thiel did that Antichrist. I haven't watched it, but I've seen it. It pops up in my K on YouTube, where he did a big old thing on the Antichrist. So they
yeah.
also have their interpretation. Yes. Uh,
And what about the people that in Charlotte in 2017 were chanting, Jews will not replace us? That doesn't seem to be Zionist people who wants to
well,
set up
they
a,
are but Zionists are also racists. That is something I had to learn because
yeah.
they actually they want the Jews out of here in their own land. That's the way they're looking at it. So they are pro-Zionist because they want a place for the Jews to go, right? Because they're racist against Jews.
So
And
if I
so,
ask you, Susan, do you think who is controlling the Oval Office today more?
oh,
Is it MAGA or is it Trump?
it's Trump, unitary executive,
And, and
right?
and what about MAGA and the people?
Well, they must have his ear because if you can schmooze him like Netanyahu did. Netanyahu knows just how to play Trump and over compliment him and all that stuff. So he
Okay,
can pull his strings.
so that's the part that I want to get. Is it Trump a useful tool to
Yes,
control the office,
yes.
or is Trump the ones who actually doesn't listen to anybody? He only does what he understands he wants.
Well,
I
he's
would like,
admitted that. He said that it's his own mind and his own morality that makes the choices.
yeah, is he lying or he's really being controlled by the either by manipulation or because people know how to play his ear? That's what we want to decide because the woman is the entity that controls it. Like that's the symbol of someone sitting upon a horse. It's exactly that. The horse is not deciding, no one around it is deciding. It's the person, the jockey who's doing everything. So if it is Trump, then he's not listening to anybody. He's doing what he thinks he has to do, regardless what people say. I know in real life, people have an element of persuasion, but at the end of the day, it has to be his own thoughts, his own ideas. So is it him or the people that vote him in? Who is controlling the office?
Well, I'm not talking about the people who vote him in. I'm talking on this level that we're discussing. I'm talking about the people around him, the cadre of people around him
Yeah,
that
or the people
know
around him.
how to schmooze up to him to make him think differently, possibly. They,
Okay.
he could go home and think he's thinking his own, but they might have still managed to put some persuasive ideas into that head of his.
Yeah, but I would say that applies to any president, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So, for example, last year was I don't think I was surprised, but it helped me understand a little bit of because I think I always underestimated him, saying, well, he's just being used by whoever, Miller or Bannon or whoever you want to pick up. Um, Actually, before I say that, what about some people? Elaine is saying he used them. Could you expand? You mean Trump used them
Sorry,
with
yes. Yeah, well, the way Susan was going through it, it would seem as if they're the ones that are in control. But he's, as you said, he's the one that's in control. He used them and anyone else to get where he's at today. He only does anything for himself.
Yeah, that's a good point, Elaine. It's true.
and And when I was, thank you for that, Elaine. When I was at the beginning of the year, I think, I don't know exactly when, last year, you all remember he campaigned over many things, but one of them was, well, I'm going to release the Epstein files. He got in, They asked for the Epstein file. He said, you know what? I'm not doing it. Let's not talk about the reasons, whatever. Yeah, he's in there, all of that. His own people in one of the most political sensitive topics, Pizzagate and all the things about the conspiracy about pedophiles. And then suddenly there's actually someone with a whole system in place with many, many other rich people around the world who were abusing these women. And Trump said, yes, I'm going to release them. And they were crazy for it. Like they were just waiting for that moment when uh, the big people around the world were going to fall because we're going to find them all. And Trump said, I'm not releasing it. Like he doesn't really care. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if his whole base asks for something. If it is something that he doesn't want to do, he will not. Uh, and that was something that I had to learn. Like I underestimated him. The useful idiot who's doing, the biddings of whoever. No, he's there doing his own bidding. So on the surface level, we know that if the Sunday law is the arrival of, we still haven't decided when, at least in our study, is the arrival of this administration, whenever we want to say it arrives, the person in control using the powers of the president, this institution that is the office of the president of the United States, the one who's in control, ultimately, really, by all the evidences, doing his own will, by his own accord, is Trump. So that's what gives us this idea that he is the woman. There's more reasoning behind it. But I think it is safe to say that it is the entity controlling the Oval Office today. Whether we believe in July, November, or January, he's the one controlling it. So I would just say the woman is Trump. If we just accept that as faith value at this point. There's a comment, Kathy, the model guide says, woman, Trump controls the beast office of the president. Christine says he will say, lie, whatever it takes to get what he wants, but he will not keep his word or promises. Emmanuel says it is him who is the main character. Okay, so people are agreeing. That's good. So we have Trump and we have the Oval Office. So let's make this exercise.
So, Pedro,
Yeah.
sorry, I just want to take you back a little bit there because I thought you began by trying to harmonize or synchronize the point of Sunday law.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to follow your logic leading up to that point. So my question is, I'm looking at the beast and I'm also looking at the woman. So
Okay.
prior to Sunday law, the beast, the head that has power is the sixth beast.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman is not yet controlling or assuming or taking over power. So my question is, for us to determine the point where the transition takes place, I guess we ought to have followed the activity, identify and follow the activity of the woman rising,
Mm-hmm.
the seductive nature of the woman, and who the woman is seducing, and at what point the sixth beast dies, and what marks that death. Because when you're talking about the seventh beast, I don't think we can have two beasts at the same time. It has to be one head at a
Yeah.
particular time. So at what point, what determines the death of the sixth? Is it even visible?
So, Mary, you're making an extremely relevant question. I don't think we are able to talk about it in the time that we have. Not that I'm best person to explain it. I have some ideas about it. Uh, Parables tend to explain things in simple terms. Oh, probably not always, but there's 7 periods, and that's all it says. One ends, the other one begins. But we know real life doesn't really work that way. You said, well, there cannot be one kingdom at the other at the same time. I don't know if you remember Elder Tess when she would speak about the falling of the six. Basically, I'm gonna do it here. She would do two waymarks using Acts 27. She would say this is 2021 and this Sunday law 2024. And she would say the Sea of Cilicia and Pamphylia, one kingdom dying and the other one rising. In a way, there is overlaps, and overlaps, just by the very nature, are difficult to explain when we are just simply constrained by this idea of 7 kingdoms. So it is a relevant place to go, extremely important, but we're going to keep it at the simple level, which is there was a 6th kingdom, all good. We are assuming that the 6th kingdom, it is called that the beast is not, even though there's a head. That is something that we have to wrap our head around. It's not even about the Sunday law study. It's about the fact that it says the beast is not. But how is it a 6th head? So we know there has to be a head, meaning there has to be a power, but it's not even called beast because there's no woman riding it. The whole symbol of the beast is because it's been ridden by a woman. Good. That's the 6th. And at some point, when the woman comes back, however that happens, whatever that means, now it is the 7th. So at a very, very simple level, the 6th ends with no bad woman riding it. And the 7th, it's simply this, even though it's the same Oval Office, it's not the 6th, it is the 7th. Something changed in the Oval Office, whatever that is. We won't get into that, but it is the 7th, and it is being controlled by the woman. And that is called the 7th.
I
At a
think
very
you just,
simple level. Yes,
I
Susan?
think you just, I think I just understand why it's July 18th from this explanation. Because you're marking from the point it rises? No, because that was 2021.
Well,
No.
let's go through this process. Let's go first to what I think is the most immediate question, which is the following. We have a model that says the head, the 6th head, is the Oval Office. And the beast that the woman wants to ride, which is the 7th face, what would be the 7th head, that one is because the woman comes back, and that's the 7th. So you say, okay, it is the Oval Office, and Trump is that woman. Simple terms. You have an animal, and you have a person on top. That was a terrible way to put it. Any of you should be able to actually tell me if the beast had nobody, picturing that way, picturing the way that that beast had nobody at some point. I know it's difficult because when the beast doesn't have anybody, it is the 6th head. And at some point, it has someone called the woman, and that is the 7th. So let's try to take it the way that it is given. When the
Pedro?
woman comes back, yes?
This is Bob. I just wanted to ask, when I look at I think it's, to me, it's confusing when you put beast and head together all the time. You have to say a head.
Mhm.
The head is a political institution with power. which
Yeah.
is the presidency, which is the Oval Office. It's a political institution with power, period.
Yeah.
And
Like this.
it becomes a beast when the woman rides it.
Exactly.
Okay, so they're not all in one, they're two separate things, and that's how the sixth is one and the seventh is the other. That's how I see it.
Perfect. So I'm separating this way. The beast is a political institution with power, controlled by the woman, and the head is a political institution with power, no woman. Good?
That's real good. Thank you, Bob. That's real
How
Thank
do
you,
good.
you
Bob.
identify the woman? The ideology. What's the have you defined the particular ideology that this woman has that identifies her
Yeah.
and sets her apart
Without,
from?
yeah. Without identifying, with accuracy what that is, it's Trump's ideology. He wants to serve himself. He wants to use the power for whatever he wants. That's his ideology. The rest of the other people who were sitting on that throne, they were actually trying to do something for other people, not for themselves. Kathy, you had something to say? I think
Oh,
Daniel calls it Gadal. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that part of Trump's ideology is to be a grifter and make money, um, and like make a deal and then control because he is a bully. But
Hmm.
it's all about the deal.
Hmm.
And I think he's made financially like a $2 or $3 billion since coming into office. And you can see his ideology is he doesn't care who he's making a deal with. He just wants the power and the money.
Yeah.
The only problem I have with that is that the what do you call it? The proxy thing. We know the woman serves Satan. Satan has a purpose at the end of the world. The woman has a purpose, and that purpose is not for the woman. It's not serving. It's not doing his own will. It's doing the will of Satan. So, what is the purpose at the end of what is the purpose of the woman at this particular point? We know Revelation 17 tells us that they have one mind, they fight against the Lamb. To me, that seems to be the purpose of the woman. And I'm not sure if Trump is thinking about that.
Say again, what's the purpose of the woman in your view?
Is to fight against the Lamb. It's to fight against Christ.
Yeah, but the problem with that, Mary, is that we don't even know what that means. What is to fight against the Lamb? Like, there's only one church on earth that you could persecute Christ. That's us. Definitely, he's not doing that. What I'm trying to say is that you are saying the right words using Revelation 17, but I think what people are describing Trump as serving himself and he only cares about himself is exactly the real life application of the ideology of that woman. Even if we can pinpoint exactly, oh, that links to the persecution of the Lamb in this way or the other. And I don't want to go there yet, but I see the value in what you want to know. How does that actually end up being the fulfillment of the woman wanting to destroy Christ or Christ's church or whatever? So I get your point, but we need to see reality.
Exactly. And I see that because I look at Trump, he's up in age. So if we say the ideology is Trump is the woman. So if he dies tomorrow, what's a woman then?
If he dies tomorrow and tomorrow you have a good person, whatever that person is, then the United States will have a good woman. But if the person who is after him, who, I don't know, it could be his vice president, it could be Miller, it could be you pick. We would say, well, there's still be this that's still the bad woman because of the sheer ideology that they have. Even though we're talking about how Trump is serving himself, that would depend on the what is that person using the office for. So because he has not died yet, we don't need to worry about who would be the next woman. How do we even know that Christ is not coming while Trump is alive, which is very likely? So he might be just the woman till the end. He would be the person Trump is the actual fulfillment of the seventh kingdom, of the woman writing the seventh kingdom. But it's all very relevant. I would like to get to the point of about the Sondilo specifically, and I would really appreciate all of you have been giving ideas. If we have determined, and as Mary said, we don't have exactly all the answers about the ideology, etc., but we can at least say and be able to see, yes, it has to be Trump, and he is the one using the Oval Office to do his bidding. That is the union of the woman and the beast. Today, I would ask, when did the woman sit on the beast? Now that you know what are the two symbols, when did it happen? Based on the symbol that I just have on the screen, person who seated upon the horse to use it, when it happened in real life.
Yeah, when he actually gets the position, because I think
When is it?
when he actually takes the seat, is given the seat.
But when is it?
I
Give
think
the
in
day.
one of your, pardon me?
If you could give the day, sorry,
Well,
just say it. The one that makes sense to you.
I'm hedging only because now I'm not sure, because it wouldn't be November 5th because it still had to go to the electoral college, right? So once it's certified, then basically he knows he's got the position, but he doesn't take the power until coronation day, which was what was that, January 20th? Uh,
So I agree
anyhow,
with you. November would be like I present you this horse and you take the, I don't know, the ropes, how they're called, and you see, okay, this is
reign.
my horse.
Yeah, yeah,
The reins.
reins of the horse. Yeah,
But when is he seated using the horse?
on January 20th, the day he had all the
So now
big.
you know this symbol, when he sits on the beast, is January 20.
Mhm.
It seems very simple. Someone very wise told me one day, sometimes the simplest answer, especially in prophecy, are the final answer.
It's the best answer, really, when it's simple. You know what I mean? Because you can do so
Yeah,
many contortions and then you can't even explain it to somebody. But when it's
yeah,
simple, anyone can understand it.
yeah.
Can we bring in Matthew 5:28? Will that help?
So what happens, and thank you for bringing that up, is that I totally skip the other major symbol that the woman is presented to us. So this is the key part of the study. This is what I wanted to get. Revelation 17 doesn't only present the woman riding horses, the beast. That's not the only symbol that is given. It's given two symbols. This is one type of relationship. I think I call it relationship. That's a relation between the woman and the beast. But there's another one that I'm going to put to the right. Let me get rid of this. it is said, we read actually 17:3, but 17:2, it's before actually, it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. Again, the only thing that these two symbols share with each other, and what I mean by these two symbols is the woman and the beast, the woman and the kings, is that in one you have animal and human. On the other side, you have what? Human, the king,
And human, the king.
and human, the woman. Human, the woman. So we have the woman, human, with a human, which is the king. The same way we did an analysis and we talked about horses and elephants and the nature of the relationship and who benefits from it and why the humans use that, we would have to do the same analysis. But now the relationship is not someone who rides a beast, it's people who, and I'm going to put in the middle, commit fornication, which is sex. It's a bad type of sex. We're not going to get into that because I want to keep it as simple as possible. It is two humans who have a relationship. It is said, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. There's actually 7 of them, and she's committing fornication with the 7th. So that's why I'm only putting one king. So the woman and this king will commit fornication. Now you can right away see, oh, this is not simply someone controlling the other. There seems to be a quid pro quo here. It is two people with agency each other, and they benefit from this relationship one way or the other. If she's a prostitute, she gets money. If he's a king, he just get whatever, his pleasure, whatever he wanted. So the natural, we're talking about the natural here, just changes the whole picture. And there's consequences and various things that we should talk about that. But now we know that there's two major things going on. So I go again, I did do the same. I don't mind. It doesn't matter. I take the woman and I put him just next to her. They are on a bed committing fornication. And I will ask, using that symbol again, when did Trump physically committed fornication with the throne, with the office?
Would be July 18, right?
Gloria, that would be the moment when we immediately have complexity. Like we call it hidden treasure, because both actions on the surface level, which is riding an animal or sleeping with someone, both things are physical. There's a point in time when they come together and it happens, either because you sit on the horse or because you slept with the person. So I would say when they slept together, the answer remains the same. Is when they joined. But of the two symbols, there seems to be one that is not only physical. If you had any story in the Bible, any real relevant thing out there that says something like this. If you think about riding the horse, you already did it in your heart. That sounds funny. And that doesn't exist. So this is the moment when riding the beast physically becomes completely irrelevant, because we know committing fornication, which is the symbol number 2, it's the same thing. It's also physical. But then we go to Matthew 5. I know it's talking about adultery, but doesn't matter. Adultery is under the umbrella of fornication. We don't even need to get to the implications of about if it is adultery and there's a good woman around it who was cheated. This is only about the simple answer of when the relationship started. Because if you only gave me horse and human, I know that he only used that throne really in January. But when you bring about the symbology of fornication, and we know that fornication, based on the Bible and Jesus, there's a story about fornication not happening even yet, not even at the physical act, but before that already drag us earlier. That's a point when January becomes past history or irrelevant or noise or however you want to call it. And now we have or November or July. So here's what happens. If you want to study the symbology of fornication, you will need to take the two people involved. Please open Matthew 5. I think it's 28. Matthew 5:28, and I will just read the relevant sentence that says, "But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her have committed for adultery with her already in his heart." I ask, based on that verse, I'm hoping you have it in front of you, when the fornication happens. What's the marker? Using the
Looketh.
verb. Looketh. Thank you, Penny. Was it Penny?
Yeah.
Thank you. So I will put an arrow here. I could do it both ways, since adultery is something between two people. Even though Revelation 17 says when who the kings have committed fornication with. But doesn't matter. It is a matter of looking when they see each other. If they see each other and lust, they lust after each other, then they did it. The problem is, under these two symbols, there is Trump, human being in real life. I'm putting the application underneath. What do I have to put underneath the king here in the fornication symbology?
RNC.
But who is the king? We just
Trump.
the
Isn't
office,
it?
right?
Oh, but it's a human.
Exactly. But that's
But
what parables are for. It's not
human to
supposed to.
human. An office isn't human, right?
Yeah. But an office is not a beast either, right?
No.
So,
Yeah.
but we are so used to that other symbol, because a beast is something powerful and is useful, and you just, you write it. But when it suddenly turns out that it is a king and it is a human symbol, how do we actually make an office, which is not even real? It is an institution. It's not something that you can touch. How do you make? I'm gonna make it a chair just to have a picture. How do you make a chair look at Trump to commit fornication? That's what confronts us. It is not us. It is God who's personifying that chair. Like, God is telling us to do it. So we have to. And we will do it very quickly. I'm doing my best to wrap up. If you're a person, we look people all the time, but there's a specific type of looking that Jesus is speaking here. As a human being, what prevents you from looking in the bad way that the Bible is telling? What is the thing that decides when you look in one way or you look on the other way? What is the bad looking? What's the power that decides that? If I can call it a power. Think about the reality.
Do you mean the lower nature?
The lower nature, it's always there. You cannot do anything about it. But there's something you can do about it. Are you looking or not looking? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the way that you're looking. Yeah, I understand.
What controls that?
Well, I would say it has to do with the condition of our heart, right? That would control that.
This is nature of humanity stuff. And it's not like, what's my condition? No, no, no. You can do it. Whether you want it or not, you can. What is it?
Oh, willpower?
The will. The will is what I'm going to put will here in yellow that lives on top of this king, also on the woman, but the woman doesn't even care. She really wants that king. That's what the whole story is about. But the king, it says that he's committing fornication, which is a sin, which is bad. So there's something that might prevent him from doing it, but he will do it anyway. What is it that he used to look at her with lust? It has to be the will. The will is what, if I do some arrows on the head, arrows, it's what makes you look that way or look the other way, right? The wheel, you look this way, you look the other way. You decide when you want to look and when you want to look or when you want to stop looking. We know what decision this king is taking. Also, the person that Jesus is speaking about, whosoever looketh to lust, etc. We need to personify the office now. Because the willpower of Trump, that's all good because we know it. He has a willpower and we know the way he uses it. But now we have an office that I'm picturing as a chair. How the chair decides to look or not look, that's the question. We're missing an element that I'm going to call, in the natural, it is the will. What is it in the spiritual, which is real life? Trump office. What makes the chair not look to Trump? On the symbol above
would
is
that be
will.
the legal?
Sorry, Mary, go ahead.
Would that be the legal, the law, moral, law, legal?
I like it. There has to be something about a law because this office is an institution that is protected by laws and constrained by laws, actually.
The Constitution.
There's the Constitution, but the Constitution, it's preventing the office from looking people. I know we're using the word looking. An office cannot look anybody, but we are forced to personify it. So let's put it in the following way. We have to assume that this office, because we are personifying it, it has eyes. So I'm going to make these eyes. And it was always looking to the other side, whatever that side is. It's always looking. It cannot help itself because it's a chair. That's what it does. It looks to whoever is in front of it. So the wheel in the real symbol, in the natural, who controls the thoughts and the head of that king, has to be something else with the office, something that makes it see or not see. So I will just say that it is, a wall just next to it. I will do
But
the
just to
wall.
clarify, because when you
Yeah.
said office, I got a little messed up. That because it's in Matthew, it's the man that's lusting after the woman,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Trump is
Yep.
the woman. So this office is whatever this office is, it represents those that have turned and want this relationship with Trump. Is that correct?
Yes, you're right. But
Okay, I'll leave it at that.
yeah, but how an office determines that it wants somebody specifically?
They like what they're offering, or maybe they'll, I don't know, maybe never mind, I won't go there either. Sorry.
What I want to suggest is that there's simply something preventing the office from seeing Trump, and at some point that is taken away, and that's when you see Trump. And if you looketh, that's Matthew 5:28, whosoever looketh already did it in the heart. We're looking for the visual, the the eye contact moment. That's what we are trying to build, but we just realized that offices doesn't have any eyes, not chairs, not this institution called the Oval Office. So we create something. I'm picturing like a wall. Picture it however you want. It could be a blindfold, or however you want to see it. Because at the moment that the office sees, it commits a fornication. That's what it is. So this is the moment when we know it has to be something that prevents the office from seeing Trump. And that's when we go to the legal process of becoming president. The whole election cycle, it is when you run for the primaries. Are you candidate when you're running for the primaries? Are you candidate for the office?
No,
You're not. You're only candidate for the office when?
when you are elected from your party.
When either of the two parties elect you. That's the only moment in time where, in the legal process of the United States, you become a candidate for the office. So we can rip off all the moments before the conventions of either party. That is not the moment when the office looks, because the office cannot even see that person. He's not even candidate. It could be, what was the name of the other major candidate of the Republicans at the beginning? I don't remember, but it's a her. The office doesn't even know who the person
You mean
is.
Nikki Haley?
Yeah, Nikki Haley. It could have been Nikki Haley. It could have been, I don't know, whoever that was. The office cannot be deciding, well, who is it I'm actually liking to be? No, the office is presented with two people. And the thing about the two people is that if I go up and we remember the sixth kingdom, when it is not, anyone who represents the ideology of the sixth kingdom, who I'm going to also put behind the wall, that will be Kamala. Whoever is behind the wall, the office cannot see until she's really a candidate. Let's say Kamala was the bad woman. When would the Sunday law be for us? In in another world, imagine she was the bad person and Trump was simply a normal candidate.
Would have been August. Wasn't it August, the DNC?
The DNC was August. That is the only moment in time, but what, sorry, not only, that would be the first moment in time when this personified office, we are personifying it because the Bible tells us to do that, because it is a king actually, when this office is able to see Kamala in August. But Kamala, it's out of the picture because she's a continuation of the good woman, or whatever the sixth kingdom represented. She cannot be. We have to find someone who is not a continuation. Let's actually put it this way. Who is sitting on the office when the wall was up?
Biden.
Biden. And if Kamala was on the other side of the wall, we're breaking the symbol because we're transferring Biden from Kamala, but that's what it actually means. Once Biden is gone and then Kamala comes, office has not committed fornication. It's the same ideology. Sorry, it's the same entity with ideology. Even though it changed of literal person, it is still the person that this office is married with, that and it's been since the creation of the nation. But then Trump, this is a different Trump than the first time. This is Trump 2.0. He's behind the wall. The only thing, the wall or the blindfold, however you want to picture it, something that is preventing the office from seeing. He is the relevant person in the picture. So whenever the office can see him, then Matthew 5:28, who speaks of adultery, but it's fornication. Adultery is a type of fornication. When fornication happens is when you looketh who you shouldn't have looked. The office cannot help itself. It looks. It looks when you remove this wall. So you remove the wall, and that means that now the office expects a candidate. And the first moment that the office see Trump has to be when he becomes a candidate. Before, it could not see it. In November, the office has already been seeing it for months. Probably in November they touch each other, they shake hands or something. That we need to find the first moment because
I get
the
it.
parables. You get it?
Yeah, I'm so thankful. You've turned out to be such a good teacher, Pedro.
I'm glad.
And it has to be the Republican convention because they were all in cahoots during that time. So they were committing that fornication,
Mm-hmm. So
right?
you remember when we were at the beginning, we were trying to decide it has to be either when they vote him in, either when he takes power, either the thing is we need our source of truth. And our source of truth is either Daniel 11, Revelation 13, or 17, which we know they have to agree with each other. But then we go to 17, and it has the many elements necessary so that when they are unpacked and understood separately, and then we see, wow, there's only not only the riding of the horse, there's also the fornication, which, by the way, in the Bible, it starts when they see each other, way before the touching. So we need to personify the office. We just did it. The whatever the wall, the blindfolds, whatever was preventing the office from seeing Trump was taken off because that's the law. You become the candidate when the party approves you. I want to close with the following. This is the moment in time when I go to QFMG and I say, I get it now. Quintus, what's Quintus providing to the name?
July.
He's providing the month. Thank you. July. What is Fabius providing?
Voting.
Election. Voting.
What is voting all about? Where does voting exist? In what type of systems?
Democratic.
In democratic Republican systems. Fabius is a symbol crying out for ages, telling us the transfer between the 6th and the 7th is going to happen legally, and it's going to happen the way it has always been from one president to the other. It is election cycle. Election cycle is a big period of time with primaries, with campaign, with when you win, and then the transition, and then you become president. So it is telling us that this is, if I can summarize it as, this is the election cycle, the democracy, the democratic system, but just call it election cycle. So you call it election cycle, and then you go to MG, Maximus Gurgis, and I would like you to go, not now, of course, but you know what Wikipedia says about Gurgis? It says whirlpool, water that is, revolving and then flooding something. There's several symbols attached to it that I know many of you know. But look at what it says about Gerges. The younger Fabius received his surname Gerges, the whirlpool, due to the gluttonous habits of his youth, in which he consumed every luxury he came across. Don't think about Gerges being Trump. Let's understand Gerges. It says, due to the gluttonous habits of his youth, he would consume. What does it mean when you're gluttonous? That you don't have what?
You can't get full.
Vince,
Rain.
you're not temperate.
What
No
do you
willpower.
exactly? You lack this element. You don't have it. Actually, you do because everyone has it. But what do you do with it? You don't use it. Really? Are we on the same page? It says, due to the gluttonous habits of his youth, in which he consumed every luxury. The Gerges, it's talking about, I'm gonna use the word unrestrained. Unrestrained. And why is it tied to flood? It is tied to flood because the way that floods come about, it's that either the riverbank, the sea, in any of the different places that flood happen, there's a barrier that was surpassed. So if you think of what's it called, a dam? If you have a dam and there's a lot of water, the only thing that's keeping the water behind is the wall. The same thing that I did with the office or the willpower. There is something that is restraining. Now, gurges means flood. How do you reconcile flood with gluttonous habit? Well, because the same way that a wall can be broken and then the water just overflows, you stop restraining the water, either because someone blew the wall up or whatever happened, that water is no longer restrained. That's why he was gluttonous. He could restrain himself if he wanted. He didn't. So he unrestrained himself. He let go. That overflow, that's the flood. So when we go to July 18, it is the story of a party that had this wall, and their job, that's their job of the gatekeepers, like Gloria was saying. The whole purpose of them existing is that one day, the founders knew that one day someone will come and will try to use this office for bad things. When that day comes, we need to have guardrails to prevent it to even arrive to the office. And the most important one is who decides who is a candidate, and that is the party. So when the party decided, we're actually going to allow him to go, we know that the party was conquered and the good conservatives were just, taken out, and now the GOP has completely changed. Well, that's exactly what happens in the other symbol, 538, for example. 538 is the Ostrogoths. They are in the city of Rome. They are taking care of it, avoiding the papacy from being the sole power. But when the armies came and they were taken out, that immediately begins the 1260. So we are saying that when the restraint to Trump, which is the party, in July 18th, was taken away, the office was able to see Trump. And that look in between the two is the fornication that we were looking for. And that's why the Maximus Gurgis is the moment when he is ultimately unrestrained. So it is July, it is through the election cycle, and it is the moment that he is unrestrained. The G, Gurgis, is not when he's voted, is not when he takes power in January, is when he's unrestrained. Because the guy Quintus lack willpower. I don't want to keep doing this, like repeating myself. The quick summary that I want to make before I allow you to comment or give any questions is we looked at the 3 chapters. We know Sunday law is the transition point. We know that 11, 13 is Revelation 13, Revelation 17. They all talk about the Sunday law in different ways. I talked about how Revelation 17 becomes the most useful chapter, it seems to be, to understand this transition because of the separate elements that it has. And the moment that they are separated and they come together seems to be very useful. We discover that there's 2 symbols that talk about this separation and unity. The beast when sits on the beast, or the king when commits fornication with the woman. So when that happens, we understand that fornication is the most relevant one in terms of getting the first moment. And we did that because we are extremely biased towards Jesus and the Bible. And Jesus says fornication actually begins when you look. So then we take the Oval Office and Trump, we build a model, we try to see when does the office is able to see Trump. That would be the moment of fornication according to Jesus, parabolically. And we were able to trace that to the moment when the party allows him to be the candidate. Before, he wasn't even anybody for the office. So that's why we know the office saw him for the first time in July 18th. Then we have QFMG, and we can see how the word Gurgis becomes this unrestrained, Maximus unrestrained, this moment when he's allowed to go in, when the Republicans are destroyed and they no longer fulfill the purpose of protecting the seat, the office, and they let a bad woman to be a candidate. It's not when he won. The fornication is simply the fact that he was allowed to be there. And the office saw him, and because he promised the office, I'm going to use you with unlimited power, the office says, let's go ahead. I want to use my powers. And that's where we are here now in 2026. Any comments or questions? I know I went over time. Sorry
I
about
have
that.
one very quick, pretty quick, and I like your work very much.
Thank you.
But I would like Trump 1.0 and 2.0, because he was still looking then, and he got to sit on the office on this chair. So how can you defend the fact that the 1.0 is not the Sunday law, and the second term is the one prophetically with the
Yeah, that's a great question. It requires time to answer, but I think, Mary, you're gonna have time to ask it with the other speakers, and it is an extremely, extremely important topic. But sorry, I'm asking for a rain check to not
I think
answer
he
it.
was restrained more so in 1.0. He had more guardrails in place. He doesn't have that now in 2.0.
Yep.
Yes, I think so too, and that's why I was asking those guardrails, what exactly they are and when they came down.
Even as bad as candidate he always was, he had never done January 6th yet. So let's say people didn't even fully know who he was. Now in July 18th, Republicans exactly know what he's capable of, what he wants to do. I'm just throwing a little more wood to the fire. Like, it might be something about that, but I know there has to be some prophetic models to fully explain it. And I'm sure some of the other speakers will be able to. Thank you, Mary.
I,
Gloria?
I think I think Curtis in the second presentation that he did in Australia talks about the regulated power of his first presidency versus the second one was a consolidated power that he had.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gloria. Any other comment?
So sorry, the question that I had at the beginning, the point of the Sunday law, because that has been the question that made us even to be here 2 years later. So with the model that you have explained here, with the Revelation 17, Daniel, and the model that you have drawn here, it seems to me that July 18th seems to put the question behind us now.
I agree. And we need to fully understand fornication. Sorry, what that was a question, or was a
No,
statement?
I just am celebrating because now I'm in agreement with everybody.
I'm so glad.
Thank you.
You did anything wrong. You did nothing wrong until you see it, and I'm glad you did. I also took my time to it, and yeah, we just need to continue doing this because surely digging on this and the related topics and implications of this are gonna give us, more waymarks. That's why arriving to this point is so important, and that's I think why we should be doing and we are doing the Sunday Law Initiative even now in 2026.
Pedro, this is Manuel again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manuel.
You answered the questions really well, at least for me. And I have other questions, but for the next time, hopefully you're gonna be coming soon to this
I
side of
have
the
so
world.
many. I have so many unanswered questions, Manuel.
Yeah,
but at
but
least the ones that we have.
this
Wow.
was fundamental because in November 29 of 2024 we had El Parminde had a presentation. In those days he wasn't taking a position. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
And then we were like convinced that November 5 was the date, because some references in the life of Paul mentioned the Euroclydon, something that happens in November.
Yeah, and
You know
it's
that
stormy in November, Manuel.
Yeah, I know.
yes, and so it threw me off because when also when I had a conversation with him in Florida, he didn't want to touch on the issue very openly. Like, okay, it took us a while then, but one of the things that Elder Terry did that really convinced me is the transition from the fourth kingdom to the fifth kingdom, the seat and the power and the great authority. And now when she transposed that to our time, the first time that Trump took office was when he took the seat. And then in January 6th of 2021, he got the power, and the great authority was given by the Supreme Court when they gave him, well, that was the cause, the immunity, and he was crowned practically
Yeah, that was
in
July 1st, Manuel.
18, yeah?
July
Right?
1st was when the Supreme Court gave him
Yes. And
immunity. Yep.
I remember that day because it marked my life personally. It was when my son Abraham died. And so
To hear that.
it impacted me so deeply. and that was one of incentives for me to believe Elder Terry's message. And I'm very happy that most people now is getting clarity about it, and so it has to. We have to be. The symbology of the Bible has to be like treaded in order for us to get the whole
Thank you so
point.
much, Miguel, for that
Thank you, thank you, Pedro.
precious. It is a precious
But
testimony. I'm so sorry
yeah,
to hear about was it your son or your relative? I'm sorry to hear that.
that
Yeah, it was my son Abraham. He was 33, and it marked my life. But prophetically speaking, it helped me consolidating in the movement, the message, and in the angels that the Lord has graciously sent to us.
Thank God. Thank God. Thank you so much.
Pedro.
Yes, who's
Sorry,
there?
this is Eva. I apologize 1,000. I was watching my grandson. You
Oh,
called me.
no.
I understand. I'm so sorry. But I
Okay.
appreciate all your info. Thank you so much, Pedro.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Well, if there's anything else someone want to say,
Pedro, this is Bob.
hey, Bob.
Hey, I just wanted to tell you that as you bring up these subjects and you try to go through them, I'm appreciating more than I can put in words your patience with dealing with all of us collectively when we bring up questions or say things that are kind of sidetracking or derailing a little bit. And yet you see the validity in the points that are being made, but it's not where you're trying to go. And that is something that you can't learn overnight how to do. And I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you for the encouragement. Okay.
So
I think,
Pedro,
yeah.
yes, this is Fel.
Hey, Fel.
Yeah, I really appreciate you as a teacher. I've watched you not only just today obviously, but when you were presenting other countries on the same subject, and so watching you from the other countries to today, although you're sort of saying the same thing, you're sort of saying this, teaching the same thing. I've realized how much you have grown.
Thank you.
Not only in your approach, but in the wordings that you use. You have become more refined, and so becoming more refined in words that we can all understand. Like for example, like Susan. You made her understand because your words were different. Even though you're saying the same thing, you might be different words and more refined. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, the privilege of repeating ourselves and reviewing things. So we learn it better ourselves. So that's great. It's a great benefit.
Yes,
Thank you,
we've been
Fel.
blessed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
And
much, everyone.
I'm ever so grateful. Thank you, Pedro. I missed a lot because I had cancer last year
I'm
and all
sorry.
the treatments, right? And I was in no shape to even concentrate on the messages. It took quite a while to get back in the saddle, but I'm cancer free, so it's good news. I entered
Great.
2026 cancer free, and now you've got me understanding, and I'm just so thankful. So thankful.
I'm so thankful to you and to God that we are here at this stage and
Amen.
together.
That's right.
Thank you, Susan. Take care
Take
of
care.
yourselves. Well, everybody, let's close with a word of prayer. Thank you so much, God, for how much you've done for us since the beginning of the times. till today. We are thankful that we have the opportunity to meet, the opportunity to talk, the opportunity to question, the opportunity to be faithful to our consciences, and the opportunity to be open-minded and know that this institution, this movement you've built for your kingdom, but also for a benefit. We can only give you praises, and we worship you, and we thank you for all of that. And we hope that we may continue all together in this beautiful learning, even as the world seems to crumble outside and everything that's happening help us understand that you're in control of everything. We don't know exactly how, but you have been faithful to us, and that's what we appreciate. And we love you for that. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen.
Bye-bye.
Good
Thank you.
night.